Okay, right. I can start then. Hello, my name is Arya Jati. I'm a sophomore at Vanderbilt University, majoring in electrical engineering. And I'm doing some, I on campus. I'm active with like Engineers Without Borders. I do other science-based activism stuff back in Pakistan. Um, so yeah, I'm just interested in like a bit of engineering, science, activism, and like science communication. But today I'm going to be talking about aligning intended majors and classes and how to choose your classes during high school to maximize your chances for getting into colleges. Um, so we can start. Right. Can you move to the next slide? Right. So why is it important to align your intended majors in high school? So there's four main reasons why you want to do that, right? Number one is yeah. Number one is that you wanna build a strong foundation for college, right? So taking the classes that are related to the major that you wanna intend on pursuing can help you build a strong foundation for those classes, making it easier for you to settle into college and like be able to take a college level rigor during high school, which can enable you to like start off strong and basically just build those big foundations um, to get a good head start in college. Secondly, it is obviously from the point of admissions, it is obviously advantageous to show that you have an interest in a particular major or a particular area of study, and that you've been pursuing classes in that area in your own capacity during high school, right? So let's say you're interested in engineering, or you're interested in like business, entrepreneurship. If you're not taking classes in high school that shows that you're interested in this stuff, then your college admission officer is not going to know what is this kid trying to do during high school and how has this kid actually gone above and beyond to pursue his interests during like academic interest in high school. Thirdly, it's like, it's just important for exploration. High school is really a great time to explore your interests. When I was in high school, I was interested in STEM mainly, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm doing electrical engineering. Um, but I was also interested a little bit in entrepreneurship. So I took some econ classes, some commerce classes, that kind of stuff. And that helped me understand, okay, what fields do I really want to go into? What kind of interest do I want to combine? You know, and then which stuff I don't really like, and I figured that out by exploring classes during high school. And then lastly, skills development. So the classes that you're gonna take in A levels or O levels, they're gonna set a foundation for you to be able to pursue and utilize those skills in your extracurriculars, which is gonna tie back into your whole application, right? So, for example, for engineering majors, you need strong science, math, physics skills, and you want to pursue those classes, learn those concepts in class, so that you can apply them outside in your projects, competitions, research, whatever you want to do outside of classes. Looking with the next slide. Right. So how do we actually align our intended majors with the high school classes, right? And again, you can do this with like four basic ways. Um, you want to first start by researching what major you want to get into and what are the requirements for that major at the specific universities that you are targeting, right? So let's say you were an engineering major. You want to see, okay, what level of math do I need to take in high school? What level of physics do I need to take? Do I need to take chemistry? Is it advantageous if I take chemistry, or can I just get by not taking it? These are the kind of questions that you want to ask, and it's going to depend on the universities that you are targeting. So there's not like generalized universal answers that you can get for a specific major. So you want to really go for each of your universities that you're targeting. Look at the requirements. Look at what they consider. What did they appreciate you taking in high school, and basically like align that with your own classes. Um, Secondly, you want to choose relevant electives. So that means, say, how in A levels we have three requirements, but then a lot of people end up taking more classes, right? The extra classes that you're taking, you want them to be relevant to at least your intended major, or if not, then the kind of fields that you want to get into, or like the kind of stuff that you want to combine. So it should be clear from your high school course load what is your core interest, and from there what is your intended major. And if it's not like crystal clear, like, oh, I want to do electrical engineering, you don't have to be that clear, but you want to be clear, okay, this kid is a STEM kid who wants to get into some engineering or like some hardcore science. Or for example, this kid is um an advocacy, like he's interested in advocacy stuff, so he's taking political science, economics, those kind of classes. um yeah. And thirdly, you want to show that you are using um those classes to create a tangible impact, right? And how do you do that? You do that with related extracurriculars, right? So you want to do extracurriculars that complement the major and your coursework that you're taking in high school, so that you can show that not only can you learn the concepts in class, but you can also apply them outside of class into like real world applications. And that's going to be really strong for your college application. Lastly is to take advanced courses. So this is, for example, enrolling in a higher level math class in high school, taking further maths and A levels, or just taking maths if you're a STEM kid. And it might not be required, but you're taking maths just to show that you are interested in those hardcore concepts and you can understand, apply, and learn them fairly well. And then if you're able to, some people are able to join community colleges or take online courses that enable them to learn material that they're interested in and learn it at a like university level. So through doing that and then showing your admission officer that you are able to take these higher level classes in those interested areas of like academics is really gonna show and highlight your own pursuit and how you are able to propel yourself forward without needing external, push. Right. We are, yeah, we're not gonna consider an example of a student from Pakistan who was recently accepted into Princeton. And we're gonna see like how his O levels and A level classes were related to the major that he ended up choosing. Right. So his O levels were, reading this correctly. In O levels, he took maths, English, Urdu, Pakistan studies, Islamic, physics, chemistry, bio, and additional mathematics. So pretty standard, but you can see that there's a clear interest in like in environment and in STEM. And then he pursued that in his A levels by taking environmental management, computer science, physics, and mathematical engineering, mathematics and psychology, right? So there's a clear cut interest in science and in environment, but it's also open enough to indulge into other subjects that may not necessarily be aligned with his major, but he's generally interested in, right? So are there any majors that you guys can guess that he ended up choosing for college based off of what he was taking in high school? And in general, like the top three ones would be, I would say, like environmental engineering. It could be any general engineering. It could be computer science. It could be like a math degree, even. It could be a physics degree, right? But at least we know the general direction that he's going in, And that is demonstrated through his classes. If we know more about his extracurriculars, we can make a better educated guess into what kind of intended major he's gonna end up, pursuing. Right, we're gonna. So, how can Clab AI help you with choosing your major? We're gonna do a little demo. Yes, there's a run. Right. We're gonna do a little demo where we will ask Clab AI. We're gonna give it some courses that we've already taken or courses that we intend to take, and Clab can tell us, okay, this is the kind of stuff that I think you might be interested in, and these are the kind of majors that you can apply um, based off of your interests. Right. And then you generate. And Clab not only gives you like, okay, this is like the most, you know, best match, best popular match, but also gives you some niche interests that you can be specific in. So that if you're applying for colleges and those colleges give those specific degrees, then you can apply into those specific degrees. So, for example, instead of applying directly for a computer science major, some colleges have at an undergraduate level bifurcations like data science or artificial intelligence or software engineering, right? So um, you don't need to necessarily go for the main department. You can even choose the sub majors, and it will give you like recommendations on what you choose. So, for example, in environmental science, it'll tell you, okay, you can align your application around conservation science, right? Or you can align it around marine science. But if you give it more information, it'll tell you, okay, how can you do that with marine science, conservation stuff, conservation science, and what do you need to? Okay, not only that, but also what do you need? What steps should you take to be able to demonstrate interest in that major and pursue further goals in that subdivision? So I think that's a really good feature to have when you are choosing as a high school student, because in hindsight I might be like, okay, I've already spent 2 years in college, so I know like, oh, this is what people are doing, these are the kind of departments that we have. But in high school, I'm sure a lot of us don't really have that much information, are not open to it, or have just not researched ourselves. And I think class can really help us or help you guys in high school as you choose your majors and apply for colleges, or in general, choose your academic direction, even if it's not, colleges in the U.S. Right. So with our case study that we had of the student that got into Princeton, he ended up taking environmental engineering, which is obviously, you know, which is obviously related to the courses that he took, and it is one of the top few choices that chat also gives you for your intended major. So, sorry, clap. Um, what you're able to do is you can put in what courses you've taken or what courses you want to take, and then choose, okay, from these top 4 choices, which one am I actually most interested in, and which one do I have the most chances of getting into? And you can choose those niche interests instead of applying for a general engineering degree, or instead of applying for a general like environmental science or arts and sciences um, school. You can go into more niche topics, and then this can not only help you apply, but also when you're writing your essays, it will help you draft those essays around the little niche major that you've chosen for yourselves. And it's just gonna make a more cohesive application at the end for you guys. Right. Um, right. Have we done? We've already done secrets, right?
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Yasser. So, we recently
Or should I mute myself?
can you hear me? Okay, great. So recently we came up with a new feature for Clab, where we are currently including voice assistant to help you through each part
Right.
of the application, and also we are over here giving you different resources which you can access through voice assistants, as well as you can brainstorm your essays over here using voice assistant. You could definitely sign up on Clab and see how it works as well. But for instance, over here, I'll just take a small example over here and talk about brainstorming my essay.
Hey there, Yasir. Spike here. How can I help you with your college admissions journey today?
Hi, can you help me brainstorm my essay for my experience playing basketball in high school?
Absolutely. I'd love to help with that. Let's start by diving a bit into your experience. Can you tell me about a particularly memorable moment or game while playing basketball in high school? What made it stand out to you?
So this is what we included in our
Right. So,
feature.
the feature that we're highlighting today is the brainstorm feature, where you can so Cloud will actually help you brainstorm what sort of ideas you want to write about, or how you want to structure your application when you are like thinking about creating the cohesive piece that goes along with your majors. So here we have so we can you can actually just go ahead and write down I played, for example, badminton, and I have this problem, or this is what I've been working on, and I have this interest. And yeah, so it will ask you a series of questions that you can go ahead and answer. I think it's going to be five questions, and then it is going to ask you how do you want to align all five interests. And it will give you not only popular matches, but also like uncommon connections that will help you draft a really niche, really specific application that probably only you have. And it's not like, just generic stuff that everybody else is writing about. So um, this brainstorming feature, I think, is really great because it helps you cut down on a lot of that mental writers block that you might face when you're inevitably gonna write about your college applications and start writing those essays. And it's gonna help you ensure that your essays are around a single you're circling around a singular niche interest or spike that you have. So um yeah, so Yasser input, I think he just talked to Spike and said, "Hey Spike, this is my interest. This is the kind of stuff that I do, and these are the challenges." And Spike returns some of the essay structures that you can follow to create your own drafts for your main essay, or uh, for your supplements. So it gives you the theme. Okay, you want to target these specific core values. You want to talk about this specific problem or this specific aspect of your application, and then these are some of the stuff that you can talk about. And I think it also generates a simple template that you can follow. You ideally want to alter that to your own needs, put in other stuff that you weren't able to include in those first five sentences. Um, but this is just a really good way to get through that initial writer's block. Through a casual, basically chat with Spike, and figure out how do you want to align your application, what kind of stuff do you want to focus in, and then from that draft, how do you want to change that draft into a very specific application for yourself. Right. So with all that said and done, we're gonna open the floor to Q&A. And if you guys have questions, you can write them in the chat and we will answer them one by one. So yeah, I think I really like the speech text to speech feature that they've installed into Spike. It's just gonna make it very casual for a student to get into Spike, talk casually, explain the situation, explain what challenges they're facing, and what interests they have, and be able to start with a very rough draft that they can, get through, put out something initially, and then refine it over time. So it makes it really easy for you to start when you have really low motivation to start those essays and get over the initial dread of like, oh, what am I going to write about? How is it going to be? How am I going to structure it? All of those like tiny details that just spot you down in the beginning. Right. I'm gonna answer questions when I see them. But we don't really have questions right now. So if you guys have any questions about how the feature works or your own specific questions for like aligning your majors or like what are you thinking about, in terms of oh, I have this specific interest, but there's not classes offered to me. How do I get help, right? Even those kind of questions are welcome. But if you are in that situation, by the way, you're interested in something that is not offered in your school, you can always go ahead online, take some MOOCs, like some like open online courseware. And you don't really need certifications for those, but if you do have if you get a certificate, that's always good to have. But in the end, for those online courses, it's always better to to show that you've learned that stuff and you're interested in it. You gotta show that you've applied it into external extracurricular that you do during high school. Okay, I can talk about my own experience at Vanderbilt and how I ended up choosing my majors. So I was in high school. I was really interested in physics, and science communication. I was regional coordinator for Boston Sciences tournament. I went to the international tournaments as well. So I was interested in physics, but I realized that I also wanted to do something that was more practical. So I ended up choosing electrical and computer engineering. And then when I got into college, right, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna delve a little bit into CS, see if I like that field, a little bit into other like arts and sciences. So I ended up taking a lot of courses in like CS and okay, this is all good and everything, but after my first internship, I realized I don't really want to do CS or SWE, so I settled more towards electrical and computer engineering, and that's a really common theme in like colleges, especially in the US. You're gonna realize you don't really need it's like totally fine to not know, but you want to show that at least you have a general and genuine interest that you have pursued in high school by taking those classes, right? So it is important, but it's not like an end all be all. Like a lot of students come into college want to be environmental science or data science, and they end up switching towards CS or econ, poli-sci, or a lot of these courses. So, it's not entirely necessary to know, but it really helps you to have a good direction. So it says, is it true that you choose your true major in the second year and can apply it in any major initially? Yes, it's I would say is mostly true for a lot of colleges in the US. You can basically apply to any major that you want. And then they give you, for arts and sciences, I know, at least at Vanderbilt, it's like the first 2 years you have to choose your major. And you apply in the general School of Arts and Science. And then for School of Engineering, you have to decide in your first year. So yes, it's very open in the US. You can always change. And academic freedom is like one of the greatest parts of a US education. So you can always change what majors you have, change it in like third semester, fourth semester, second semester, but you may not always be able to. So that's another thing to consider. So for example, if I was psychology and I wanted to shift to electrical engineering, since there's a lot of prereqs that I need for engineering, right? I wouldn't be able to take them in my last like 3 years or last 2 years at college. So you want to know, okay, if I'm changing major, am I able to complete in those 4 years? And if you are, then it's perfectly okay to change it, and your college will be like fully okay. It will not impact your financial aid, scholarships, or anything, unless you're in like a very specific like scholarship situation. But most likely, like 90% of the time, it will not change any aspect of your admission or your college experience in terms of like financial or status wise. So yes, I would say that's at least for the US. For Canada, it's a little bit more, but we're not. Right. Keep the questions coming in. I will try to answer the ones more specific and like just in general helpful to everyone that is joined. How do I find activities related to majors? Okay, so quick plug. Clab does it for you, right? If you write, I'm interested in this major and I wanna do this kind of stuff. Like for example, psychology, and you can say I want to do activism, or you can say, for example, psychology, and then you want to say education, right? You can put like major, what kind of activity you want to do, and then it will generate ideas for you to indulge. And you can see which of yeah, you can see which you can choose then which specific idea is most practical for you, most interesting to you. It's called the activity playground, and when you sign up for Clab, you can explore all these kind of stuff. Like, okay, I have this major, I have these interests, I have done this kind of background stuff. How do I combine all of this to generate either new ideas for essays or new ideas for extracurriculars for the future years, or like the future time, like the remaining free time that I have to maximize. Are STEM majors more desirable in terms of placements later on? I'm gonna assume placements. By placements, you mean like college admissions and not job placements. So for college admissions, I think it really doesn't matter. The reason you see a lot of STEM kids get into colleges in the US is just because there are a lot of STEM kids applying from Pakistan to colleges in the US, right? So like most of the people that I know that are smart just end up choosing STEM. That's just the general like trend, the subcontinent, Pakistan, and whatever. So it's not necessarily true like, oh, if you want to get into college, you need to do STEM and then you need to apply as a STEM major. And that will maximize your chances, because applying as an econ major, or psychology major, or environmental major is like not good or whatever. So that's not entirely true, but it just so happens that there are so many kids that are STEM that are applying that it ends up looking like, okay, it's only STEM kids that are getting the top colleges. But if you're genuinely interested in a humanities course or major, or arts and sciences, psychology, poli sci, whatever, I mean, you're able to demonstrate interest. It's just easier to do in STEM. But if you're able to generate, it's more creative to do it in arts and sciences. So if you're able to find those genuine interests and able to do them creatively outside of school, then you're gonna have a strong application. In terms of job, if placements mean job applications though, or job placements, then I think STEM kids do have a relative advantage. But it's not obviously not necessarily true. Like some bio majors don't end up making anything at the end of the day. So yeah. And we're gonna take two more questions, I think. And oh no, actually, we have two. Just waiting for more questions to show up. Uh, but yeah, just to conclude, right? You wanna focus on when you're applying for college. You wanna focus on having a streamlined application, and an application that like ties all its loose ends together into like a cohesive piece. And you can do so only when you have a clear, not only but like mostly when you have a clear idea of what majors you want to take, what classes you want to take, and how you want to apply those majors and classes into extracurricular activities outside of classes. Um, it says, would you guys give some special discount to pocket students for the counseling? I think you can talk directly with Fussy and then see if you can get a discount. You can use, what do you want me to say? You can use code RH20 if you get 20%. But yeah, you can just talk directly to Fussy if that works. Is it true even STEM majors get to party in college? Yes, they do. Yeah, a lot of my friends, are STEM majors, and yeah, they party a lot. But generally, are those parties good? Perhaps sometimes. So yeah, you're gonna realize that in college, people are way more diverse and way more varied in a lot more than one ways and a lot more ways than you can imagine. So for example, it'll be the kids that are, the most hardcore STEM math nerds that are also really good at music or really good at, for example, debate, which is unexpected sometimes. Because you associate, I don't know, you associate math majors with being more introverted and shy, that kind of stuff. But you're gonna come to college, hopefully, and you'll realize that people are way more complex, way more diverse than you have initially imagined, and you can be more than at a time. Yeah, that was it. Right. I think yeah. So I think we're gonna wrap it up in the last few minutes if there are no more questions. But yeah, just to conclude, right? You need to focus. You want to focus on choosing majors that are aligned with um your interests and your interests that you've already demonstrated and you want to demonstrate, and the stuff that you're writing in your college applications, because you want to show to the admission officer that you want to show him how he can envision you on campus and what job you're going to play in that campus community. Yeah, and that's in general the crux of what we're talking about today. In the next sessions, in the upcoming week, we're gonna be talking about some more features on Clab AI and more insights on how to align these features and activities with your college application to make a more cohesive application, and how Clab AI can help you think, brainstorm, collaborate, um, and generate drafts for admissions, and just streamline and expedite that process for you guys to, get rid of the initial dread and anxiety that comes with writing college essays or something. Right. We're gonna end it here today. It was great talking to you guys. Yeah, I got a flight to catch. Bye bye.